Right now in the River Region Evening Edition, snow and ice paralyzed Southern Illinois University in January. Tonight in Evening Edition investigation, how SIU's actions may have violated a national civil rights law. Plus, Tax Day inspires Americans coast to coast to protest government spending. See what local protesters did here in Carbondale. And the Blagojevich saga continues today with a bizarre twist. Tonight, could the former governor become America's next reality TV star?
Live from the campus of Southern Illinois University Carbondale. Bringing you the news from around the world and across the River Region. This is the Evening Edition.
I think it would have been helpful to have somebody maybe go around in a chair. Then maybe they would have seen, oh, something needs to be done about this.
The university's poor cleanup job after last winter's storm brought a large number of complaints from students, faculty, and staff. The conditions were hardest on the disabled. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Hillary Lehue.
And I'm Ian Preston. Tonight, the Evening Edition investigates what disabled students faced when SIUC opened campus last January.
Evening Edition's Zlatko Filipovic joins us now with more. Zlatko?
That's right, Hillary. University officials say they did the best they could and simply could not keep up with the amount of work. But the question some are asking is whether the university, which prides itself in serving about 500 students with disabilities, should have stayed closed until it was safe for everyone to get to school. It was a late January storm which dumped 7 inches of ice and snow in Carbondale. The storm forced the campus to shut down for 2 days. But on the third day, Thursday, university officials opened up the campus with no restrictions.
I'm very, very frustrated at this. They need to do something different.
Take a look what it was like for this student in a wheelchair. SIUC has about 50 disabled students who are wheelchair-bound or blind. Many of them said they had to stay home because it was impossible for them to get to school, while others tried and ran into barriers. Brad Rollinson is legally blind.
The first thing I did, my knee went out and I fell down.
Here's what the parking lot just southwest of the communications building looked like on Wednesday when the university was closed. The next day when the school opened, it was not much better.
They cleaned the corners off there where, you know, wheelchairs could get up the ramp, but they just pushed it over and piled it right on the sidewalk.
Local K-12 schools were all shut down on both Thursday and Friday. The SIUC chancellor made a different decision.
The recommendation was made, it's not going to be perfect, but we can open up enough arteries for the people to get around.
But on Monday, much of the campus was still choked with ice. It is one thing to pull up into a snow and ice-covered lot with a car, but another to try to get to class in a wheelchair. Evening Edition's Dean Reese demonstrates how impassable the sidewalks were. Some students and staff called or emailed the administration. Evening Edition asked for and received those complaints. One student in a wheelchair had to maneuver through the middle of the street. It is not fun to have moving vehicles in a line behind you because the pathway you are supposed to be using is completely full of snow, not including my distraught feelings of trying to not get hit by a car. We asked Chancellor Goldman if he was aware of this difficult situation.
This is particularly the case for our handicapped students, and I know that. We felt, however, that in the interests of the total good of the university, we had to do this. I know that there were people who were, to say they're inconvenienced is to misstate. There was hardship.
But what the university did may be more than a hardship. It may have been against the law. Paraquad, an organization that represents disabled people, says the situation was problematic.
I think it's a valid concern for these individuals who weren't able to access their classes on campus. It seemed like the situation hadn't improved much over the course of 4 or 5 days, which I think presents a problem in the not having taken care of this in a reasonable amount of time.
The question is, what is a reasonable amount of time? Even on Monday, 5 days after the campus opened, this is what some sidewalks looked like. And the Americans with Disabilities Act says, although temporary interruptions are expected, alternate services should be provided if snow and ice cannot be cleared in a timely manner.
They have to take measures and make sure that it is open and available and provided access to everybody.
Chancellor Goldman says the university workers spent 2,200 hours of regular time and over 1,000 hours of overtime to make the university accessible.
Every effort was made, and unfortunately we couldn't keep up with what was going on, but every effort was made.
But some students with disabilities say they'd like to see the problem handled differently.
You shouldn't say to me, oh, your teachers will understand, you know, because if the university's open and everybody else is expected to go to class, I should be expected to go to class too.
People with disabilities, I don't know, we kind of always feel like we're behind kind of anyway. We always have to work harder, and you know, we don't like to miss classes.
Pequot attorney Kimberly Barge says the university should learn from this experience and use it as an opportunity to meet with disabled students and hear what they have to say. Since our first interview with Chancellor Goldman, we obtained the complaints and interviewed the attorney for Pequot. So far, the Chancellor's office has not responded to our request for a follow-up interview. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Zlatko. Well, upset citizens across the country rallied in response to President Obama's plan to fix the economy. Organizers don't like how the government has bailed out several U.S. banks with their money. They call the protest tax day tea parties after the original Boston Tea Party. In Lafayette, Indiana, protesters even wanted to dump tea off a bridge. Today, the president assured the public that the focus of his tax policy is to help the working class achieve the American dream. He says Americans should no longer dread the April 15th tax deadline. Well, those protesters also made an appearance in Carbondale today. Evening Edition's Michael Radistitz talked with them.
On the corner of Route 13 and Highway 51 in Carbondale, protesters proudly waved posters and flags at oncoming traffic.
Just kind of gotten to the point where I'm fed up with the state that our government's in, the fact that both the Republicans and Democrats seem intent on spending more and more of our money.
Many protesters believe the government has become irresponsible and the high government spending will have a negative effect on future generations.
I'm willing to pay my taxes, and I do, but our government is spending too much, and it's going to force my daughter and granddaughter to be constantly in debt to pay too many taxes, and that's not fair.
Local taxpayers are not the only ones out here today protesting the tax day. The community's youth also has its own opinion.
Today I'm here to protest or to tell my concerns to the state about our taxes, how they are becoming a burden to the people, and how because they're not being responsible with the money that we have given them.
Protesters believe the government needs to spend less money, cut taxes, and reduce the size of the federal budget in order to fix the country's financial issues. In Carbondale, Michael Radistitz, Evening Edition.
Illinois Senate President John Cullerton says there's a real possibility for an income tax increase. He paid a visit to campus today. Cullerton says Illinois will see a $3.5 billion drop in revenue. He says tax money could be raised in a variety of different ways, including a temporary income tax increase.
It's probably very likely, given the tremendous deficit that we have. There would have to be some way to make up this, really over a year and a half before you talk about the federal money coming in. It's a $12 billion deficit.
Cullerton says everyone may not see a tax increase. Under one proposal, a tax break is given back to families with children that make under $56,000. Well, Ian, we didn't see much of that sun today, but the weather wasn't all that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad out. Temperatures did get up into the 60s today. Let's go over to Lou now, who has our first look in weather. Lou?
Yeah, guys, we did see temperatures in the 60s, but it hasn't been all that warm outside. You think for the middle of April we could be seeing some really beautiful weather. It's been just mild really all week long, and that's going to continue throughout tomorrow morning when it's going to be 45. The sun's going to shine through a little bit in the morning, but by the time midday rolls around, the sun's going to go away. It's going to be very cloudy, and it's going to be 59 degrees outside. Later on in the weekend, though, we're going to see some rain, unfortunately. I'll have more about that in my full forecast coming up. Ian and Hillary, back to you.
All right, thank you, Lou. Well, Rod Blagojevich is back on the trail in pursuit of superstardom.
Find out what he has in the works to get back into the American spotlight. NBC once ousted Governor Rod Blagojevich to appear on a reality TV show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Blagojevich has been charged with federal racketeering and fraud. The show is being shot in the Costa Rican jungle, so Blagojevich would have to receive special court permission to leave the country. Representatives at NBC said the show will feature 10 celebrities that will face challenges designed to test their skills in adapting to the wilderness.
But on a much more serious note, the former governor faces 19 federal corruption charges. Evening Edition's Isabel Leewell joins us now to tell us more. Isabel?
Well, according to one political expert, 1,000 public officials in Illinois have been convicted on corruption charges in the last 20 years. If former Governor Rod Blagojevich gets convicted, he could become number 1001. Blagojevich now faces charges alleging conspiracy, wire fraud, attempted extortion, and much more. Let's look at some of the details. Prosecutors say Blagojevich demanded a $50,000 donation from a children's hospital in return for state funding. He also threatened to withhold a $2 million state grant to a public school. And last but not least, he is accused of scheming to benefit personally from selling President Barack Obama's U.S. Senate seat.
I think these developments in the Blagojevich case all serve to underscore the need for political reform in this state. And there will be more and more developments, there will be revelations. People should not be discouraged by these, but they should instead demand from their legislators that some changes be made. Real changes, not cosmetic changes, but real changes to the way things are done.
Yapson says the process will take a while. He says what Blagojevich has to do now is put together his defense team. Ian, Hillary, back to you.
All right, well, thank you, Isabel. Well, 8 states, including Illinois, are requesting stimulus funds to build a network for a high-speed train. U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood has been asked to support the requests. And the network would have a hub in Chicago that routes trains from Chicago to St. Louis, Chicago to Madison, Wisconsin, and Chicago to Pontiac, Michigan. The expected cost of the initial phase is around $3.5 billion. Well, the struggle with Somali pirates seems to be getting worse. One of the pirates whose gang attacked the U.S. Liberty says American ships are being specifically targeted. Pirates are threatening to kill Americans if they capture them. Now, no one was hurt during the latest attack, but the ship suffered some damage. Meanwhile, French forces have raided a pirate ship that has detained 11 people.
The weather has been mild all week, but rain could be in the future. Lou Uhler is in next with weather.
But first, stocks rallied late today with word that recession may be easing. Here are the closing numbers from the trading day on Wall Street.
And now the forecast for the River region. This is your Evening Edition weather.
Well, those of you who went to the post office to finish your taxes today were met with mild and cloudy weather. I'm Lou Uhler with your full forecast. And later on in the week, we're going to actually see the temperatures rise just a bit. But once we get into the weekend, we're going to see some rain. First things first, though, right now we're sitting at 54 degrees here in the River region. Right there, dew point and relative humidity, not much of a factor. Wind is starting to pick up just a little bit, coming out of the north and bringing some cold air our way. We got all the way up to 57 degrees today, or 57 degrees. That's actually 10 degrees lower than our normal high here on April 15th. So yes, it's nice outside right now, but you think that the weather could be really, really nice outside. Low of 41 degrees this morning. No rain so far today, but it truly has been April showers, over 2.5 inches of rain here in the month of April. Around the river region, we're pretty much all in the same boat. Mid to high 50s across the area, as Carbondale and Mount Vernon are both at 54 degrees. And the hot spot in the river region today is in eastern Missouri, Cape Girardeau. Cape Girardeau, you are sitting at 58 degrees. Across the country, there's a lot of storm systems right now. There's a big one out here in the eastern part of the country, but a lot of the rain is coming all across the western part of the country. The Rocky Mountains are really getting hit hard with rain, scattered storms all over the place, evidenced further by our current conditions map. And this is the storm right here over Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. That's the one that's going to be coming our way and causing the rain once the weekend gets here. Tonight, though, we're going to see an overnight low of 44 degrees. It is going to be cloudy with the winds coming out of the east-northeast at 3 miles an hour. Tomorrow, it's going to be a little more sunny, partly cloudy. Sun's going to shine through just a bit, a high of 62 degrees. And then tomorrow night, cloudy once again, overnight low of 49 degrees, so warming up just a little bit as we're getting some warm air coming out of the south, and the warm-up's going to continue through Friday when it's going to be sunny with a high of 67 degrees, really one of the nicest days we've seen for a while. But then once the weekend comes, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we're going to see some rain. But if you have any plans on Saturday, don't worry. In the afternoon, it shouldn't be that bad. The rain's not going to come till about 6 or 7 o'clock. Stay with us through Sunday. Scattered showers on Monday when you see the temperature's going to drop just a little bit to 57 degrees. But once Tuesday comes, it's going to be sunny with a high of 62 degrees.
All right, well, we are going to see those warmer temperatures, but it's going to rain this weekend then?
It's going to rain this weekend, but once Tuesday comes, it's going to be 62, and we could be seeing the first signs of real springtime weather later on next week.
I can't wait for that. Thank you, Lou.
Welcome.
April 15th is a very important day, not only in sports history, but in American history.
That's right. Today marks the 62nd anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking baseball's color barrier. Players around the league honored Robinson today by wearing his number 42 on the back of their uniforms. Aaron Kern is in with Diamond action from the college to the pros. Aaron?
That's right. Cubs, Cardinals, and White Sox were all in action today. I'll update you on those games. Plus, I'll have the latest from the Diamond Dogs next in sports.
And now the latest scores and highlights from across the river region. This is Evening Edition Sports.
2 local high schools will officially swap conferences come 2010. Chester is moving to the Black Diamond Conference. They'll switch conferences with Carterville, who is headed to the Southern Illinois River-to-River Mississippi Division. Carterville was the most populated school in the Black Diamond Conference, but now that they're in the SIRR Mississippi Division, they will be in the middle of the pack, possibly meaning tougher competition. Carterville principal Keith Lydell couldn't be happier with the switch.
We think the benefits for Carterville High School are many, not only in the area of traditional athletic programs, but also in all areas of extracurricular participation.
Well, last night, the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks met in the desert. Cardinals pitcher Chris Carpenter tossed 3 scoreless innings before straining his left rib cage at the plate. He exited in warm-up tosses between innings. So enter the Cardinal bullpen. And that didn't go over so well. Connor Jackson with a 3-run shot off Josh Kinney puts the D-backs up 6-4. Then after Albert tied the game in the 9th, Brad Thompson leaves a fat one over the plate for Eric Burns, and he unties it. Game over, 7-6 Arizona. And more bad news, Carpenter was placed on the 15-day DL this morning. Right now, these 2 teams are doing battle. Both Chris Duncan and Yadier Molina have yet to get out and have both driven in 2 runs. Currently, St. Louis holds a 10-5 lead and will travel to Chicago tomorrow to take on the Cubs. So, how about them Cubbies? After a day off yesterday, the Cubs were back in action this afternoon in Chicago. Rich Harden started for the Cubs and had 8 strikeouts, but only made it 3 innings due to wild command of his pitches. Former Cub Jason Marquis was on the other side of the mound, and he would get his 2nd win on the season, allowing only 1 run through 7 strong innings. Colorado wins this one 5-2. White Sox and Tigers at Comerica Park this afternoon. 7th inning, and Miguel Cabrera drills it right back through the box into center field. Maglio Ordonez scores, and the Tigers will lead 6-0. Lone Sox highlight on the day. Gerald Liard flies it to deep right. Jermaine Dye's going back. He has a beat on it, leaps and makes the catch. He hangs on to end the inning. More Detroit in the 8th. Curtis Granderson rips it through the right side, plating Josh Anderson, and the 7th Tiger run on the day. The Tigers would tack on 2 more and win this one 9-0. The softball Salukis are on the road taking Tennessee Martin right now. They are currently on a 2-game winning streak, looking for their 3rd in a row. At last count, this game was scoreless early on. And the baseball Salukis are playing the University of Illinois tonight. The game will be in Marion at Rent One Park. The Dogs are 14-20 on the season and are looking to get a couple of wins together after beating SEMO in extras yesterday. The Illini are coming off a tough loss against Eastern Illinois. They are 6-3 in the Big Ten.
So tonight, the NHL playoffs start, and of course, one of the more interesting stories of the year so far, St. Louis Blues, they start up. What do they got tonight?
Yeah, they're going to play the Vancouver Canucks tonight in a 6-3 matchup. Should be a good one.
How about the Blackhawks? They're going to start tomorrow?
Tomorrow night? Yep, they're going to play Calvary. It's going to be a good one. Good matchup.
All right, well, thank you for that, Aaron.
The White House press camped on the South Lawn to get a glimpse of Obama.
But it's not the Obama you may be thinking of. Bo knows dog treats. When we return.
The most popular dog in the nation has finally met the media. America's first dog, Bo, was finally unveiled to the White House press yesterday. Bo fielded questions from a mob of press that bombarded the South Lawn. The new first dog hesitated to respond to the reporters, but he did eventually answer the question of what grows on the outside of a tree. Well, Bo sounds like quite a dog. Wow. Can we get a quick look at the 5-day forecast, Lou?
Yeah, 5-day forecast. The thing you need to know, it's going to be nice on Friday, but once Saturday comes around, Saturday evening especially, we're going to see some rain. And the rain's going to stay all throughout Sunday, Monday, scattered showers, but Tuesday, we're going to start getting some of those really nice springtime temperatures and weather.
All right, well, thank you for that, Lou. And thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ian Preston.
And I'm Hillary Lehue. For Aaron Kern, Lou Uhler, and everyone here at the Evening Edition, have a great night.